Welcome to Retail Therapy. I am Leslie.
And I'm Kellie, and we are Metamorphosis Studios.
We are consultants with just about 2 decades of experience in operations, service, and strategy. And we've worked for companies anywhere from startups to big box retailers like Bed Bath & Beyond. And at the root of what we do, whether we're guiding businesses or helping amplify voices of amazing talent we've worked with, our focus has always been on how can we help?
And today we're here with Diana Oriolo. Welcome, Diana. We're so excited to have you today. And she's here because she's on the hunt for her next big opportunity.
I am a strategy and process expert. And something that I've realized is I've always kind of hesitated and shied away from calling myself an expert, but I am. I have 19 years of experience in specialty and luxury retail. And I checked my math because that felt like a really big number. Um, I was like, wait, I don't understand how that's possible. But it is. I actually took my first corporate role in retail at Tiffany & Company in 2006 and just kind of never looked back. So in that time, in those 19 years, I have worked across the entire organizations of the companies that I've worked in and held various roles with increasing spans of control and responsibility, and have kind of built this toolbox of skills and knowledge across merchandising, supply chain, buying, planning, IT. I have stood up 2 PMOs. I have created an enterprise transformation office. I have owned the operating model and strategy for retail operations. And most recently, I actually was the CEO, chief of staff. And I also ran the global sales and contact center. I ran a virtual high-end sales team. I did a lot there.
I know, because that's how you got into the service ops part. And then we got chosen to create the PMO there at Bed Bath, which is then that jump. And like just the evolution is kind of wild when you think about going from the planning and service and ops to PMO. So it's definitely been a wild ride.
Yeah, no, it was this very windy career path, but it's one that has built me up and given me this incredible understanding of the inner workings of an organization. And I've had the benefit of working in two vertically integrated organizations, with internal manufacturing, third-party vendors, and inclusive of a retail omni strategy that also had franchise and CPG wholesale customers. So through the years, I've been able to create these connectivity points in my brain about how all these different parts of the organization work to help a company function at its best. And I was able to put all that knowledge together in, especially when I oversaw the product operating model for Party City and being able to design that end-to-end comprehensive process model that didn't just take the way that things had always been done, but actually took it, asked the hard questions, brought the right people together to figure out not only what do we do, but how do we do it better and how do we do it best, and then make that the way forward. So I've been able to do all of this work over the years, and it ultimately led me to my superpower, which was another thing that I was struggling with. What do I define as my superpower? How do I make this a thing? So I would say that it's my ability to navigate complexity with precision and influence. And it took me a long time to make that so concise. But basically, that's just a really fancy way of saying that I'm able to pull from that toolbox and that background and that knowledge and distill a very complex and sometimes messy objective into an action plan and make it achievable. And I balance that with being able to use an analytical mindset to understand what it takes to get the job done, but also really focus on relationship management and helping to make the stakeholders understand that I am in it to win it. I understand the value that they bring to the process and that I am going to help make sure that their best interests are taken into consideration in my overall solution. So I'm really good at bringing people together in that way to achieve overarching objectives.
I've always seen you as a puzzle piece connector. And I mean that in the sense that, and it doesn't surprise me that strategy has been so threaded throughout all of your different positions throughout your career, because no matter what level or title was sitting around the table in terms of talking about the project that was at hand, there was nobody else in the organization, in my opinion, and my team benefit from it. We would just be like, oh my God, we need Diana, because we didn't know how to pull all the appropriate people in and like at what point, because some projects that we've all worked on together spanned 18 months, 3 years. I mean, they were very long-term, large initiatives that required not just in the moment planning and, project timelines, but this was like long time frames that, things overlapped in terms of projects. And I think you always had the ability of, number one, keeping us on track, which let's talk about that. That's just in and of itself a feat. But just making sure that unanimously every level around the table was unanimously in agreement to how we were going to execute, and that we actually kept everybody accountable to do that. So you are amazing at that. And I'm so grateful that I got to see that firsthand.
Thank you. Yes, I think I should add like cat wrangler to my resume for
Yes.
some work. It was always a lot. Everyone used to joke about how we had to herd the cats to make everybody sit still and hear what we had to do and figure out the way forward. And it is different than just being a project manager. It's not just about creating a timeline for people and being like, fill in your dashboards. It was really more just about being all in creating the framework for what are we trying to do. It was very Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. What's your objective? What's the root cause analysis of what we have to address here to get where we need to be? And then helping people be comfortable with working backwards into, well, we're here now, and this is where we want to go. And here are the big important steps we have to take to get us there. And sometimes it was a quick turnaround. And other times it was a multi-year road-mapped project that we had to be patient and iterate and be comfortable with an agile method that some organizations aren't patient enough to do the right way.
With everything you've done and, how multifaceted that has been, if you were to pick a few of the roles that you're aiming for right now, what would they be?
So I think my optimal next opportunity would be one where I can leverage that superpower. And I'm really looking for an organization that's fast growing, looking to continuously improve and iterate what they're doing. And it'd be a role where I could use that high impact strategic leadership and help drive what comes next for an organization, whether it's increasing market share, improving customer experience, increasing brand loyalty, helping to optimize their speed to market processes, cutting costs and optimizing structures and facilities. That's something that is really unique to the work that I've been able to do, where I've created a framework for how to do this work that is truly industry agnostic. Because I don't have to be the subject matter expert for the work. I need to be the subject matter expert for how do you create a strategy and an operating model. And I am now. So I can do that for a technology company. I can do that in pharmaceuticals. I can do that in another specialty retailer. It's really an industry agnostic skill set that I enjoy doing. So as long as I'm passionate about the work, I can do it for anyone. And that's really exciting because it opens up a lot of doors. And I struggle with being able to title what I would want my next opportunity to be. Because I've always said, and you both have witnessed in 2 different organizations now, that I've always said, well, I don't want my next job to be one that someone else has. Like I've always wanted to kind of pave my own path. And for the past 5-6 years, I've been able to do that, where I've never moved into the next role that I took was somebody else's previous role. I've always created new ones for myself and for the organization, because we would identify a need or a gap in what the organization was doing, and I would fill it and it would become my next position. And I did that at Party City, especially, where I joined to help grow and build a project management office. And then that evolved to us understanding through running merchandising projects that we had a merchandising operations gap in capability that we really needed to shore up. And then going from merchandising operations, that turned into a product operating model, which then turned into, like, it just kept going, the enterprise transformation office, the product operating model. And then it ultimately turned into, when the company created a brand new chief of staff role that had never existed before, they kind of realized I was already doing it, just didn't get the title. So once again, I created my own role and got to move into that. So it's always been this iteration of opportunity that I have a really hard time tangibly saying, like, my next role would be vice president of strategy. Because yeah, probably I would love that. But it doesn't have to be that, because these opportunities present themselves in all different areas of an organization.
Kellie and I wanted to have these series of retail therapy because, again, going back to the fact that at the heart of what we do, we want to help. As we've been talking to people, the one common theme that we keep hearing people say is, and I make it an informal joke, like, I just want to get the date. I want to get the conversation. Like, get me in front of someone once so they can hear me, and we'll find out real fast if either we're a good fit or we're not. And if we're not, that's okay. We don't have to waste each other's time. But if I could just get a conversation, I feel like I could show my value. So, I mean, we've talked about a lot today, and your incredible journey. Is there anything else that we've left out that you're like, if I want someone to know, it would be this?
It is so hard to put a career on 2 pages in a formatted resume. It is darn near impossible. Yeah. I feel like I'm pulling out all the tricks from college. Like I'm going to start giving them 8-point font. Like, I don't know how to get it all in.
No margins.
So it is so hard to jam your personality, your experience, your knowledge into a resume. So yes, like if I could just turn it into that virtual conversation, that virtual resume, I think it's a lot of what we've already said here, especially about the part where, although my background, my passion, my interest up to this point has been tailored to retail, it's not so much about being tied to retail, but it is tied to doing this work and being involved in strategy and growth. And that strategy is not just fixing things that are broken. Strategy is about, how do you grow? How do you innovate? So I think that what I would want a prospective future company to know about me is that my skill set is so flexible and so adaptable, and I am able to use it in such dynamic and unexpected ways that I may not check every box on a job description, but my desire, my passion, my enthusiasm for the work that I do would make up for that in spades. Like, I genuinely believe, although I don't think I could land the commercial the commercial aircraft on my own, I do think I could learn at least a little bit about it. I don't know if I have that confidence yet, but I definitely don't want to be shoved into that tiny box of what I can fit into 2 pages, because there's so much more to it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's really awesome. Diana, this has been wonderful. We're so grateful that you took the time to join us on Retail Therapy and to share a bit about yourself. So thank you for that. And I think what we're most excited about is we know your next opportunity is right around the corner. And by the way, professionals out there, whether you're a recruiter or an organization looking for a world-class strategic brain, Diana is going to be scooped up real fast, and we're certain of it because of how much amazing talent she has packed into her 8-font, 2-page resume and beyond. But we wish you nothing but the best. And for anyone else that's out there looking for talented professionals like Diana, or if you personally need help with amplifying your own story, reach out to Leslie and I at Metamorphosis Studios. We definitely are here to help. And for that, I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. And until then, we'll see you next time on Retail Therapy.